All right, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today.
Yeah, focusing on something really practical for the real estate world.
Exactly. Especially if you're looking around Western Washington, our source is a great blog post, Understanding Home Sale Contingencies in Real Estate.
Oh, the one from Don and Susie Karstedt, Rethinking Real Estate.
That's the one. They focus on lake taps, so it's super relevant for Pierce County, Bonnie Lake, Sumner, that whole area.
Right, and home sale contingencies, they sound complicated, but the Karstedts really break down what they mean on the ground, in that local market.
They really do. So our mission here is, well, simple. Pull out the key stuff from their post. What is this thing, this contingency? How does it actually work there?
And maybe most importantly, what does it mean for you? Whether you're buying or selling and you run into one.
Yeah, taking that contract jargon and making it like usable knowledge. What should you be asking? What are the potential good and bad points?
Exactly. Demystifying it.
So let's start right there with the basics from the Karstedts post. What is a home sale contingency, simply put?
Well, the way they explain it, it's basically a clause, right?
Yeah.
A specific sentence you add to the purchase offer.
Okay.
And it pretty much says, look, I really want to buy your house, but I can only actually go through with it if I manage to sell my current house first.
Ah, okay. So it's the buyer protecting themselves. They found their dream home, maybe in Lake Tapps, like you said.
Right.
But they still own, I don't know, a place in Puyallup, maybe.
Yeah.
And they need the cash from selling that place to buy the new one.
That's the core idea. It stops them getting stuck with 2 houses, 2 mortgages. Nobody wants that.
Definitely not.
And the Karstedts mention, based on their experience, this isn't some weird, rare thing. They see it quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially when folks are maybe moving up to a bigger place nearby or just relocating within the same general area. It pops up often in their market.
Interesting. So that ties into the where and when they discuss. They're talking specifically about their patch, right? Western Washington.
Yep, they zero in on Lake Tabs, Bonnie Lake, Sumner, basically Pierce County. That's their zone.
So this is local knowledge, boots on the ground stuff.
Exactly. And they link it to market conditions, too. When are you most likely to see sellers actually, considering these offers?
Right, because in a crazy hot market, sellers might just say no.
Right. That's usually the case. But the Karstedts say this contingency is more common, or at least more likely to be accepted, in a market that's more balanced, or maybe even a bit slower.
Okay, a market where sellers don't have 10 cash offers lined up.
Pretty much. In that situation, an offer, even with this condition, is something they'll seriously look at. Better than waiting, maybe.
But they made a point about their current market too, didn't they? Even if it's not super slow.
Yeah, that's key. They stressed that even now, these contingencies do still appear. It's not like they vanished when things picked up a bit.
So you can't just assume they're off the table.
Nope. Still part of the landscape they work in, which is exactly why understanding them is important right now.
Makes sense. And they use a good example to show how it works, right? Matt and Emily.
Yeah, Matt and Emily from Puyallup.
Yeah.
They want to move to Lake Tapps, found a place they love.
But they still own the Puyallup house.
Exactly. So when they make an offer on the Lake Tapps property, they include that home sale contingency clause. It has to be in there for them.
Okay, so the seller gets this offer. What are their options then, according to the Karstedts?
They lay out 3 main paths for the seller. First, you can just accept it, sign on the dotted line, contingency and all.
Simple enough.
Now you're under contract, but it's conditional on Matt and Emily selling their place.
Okay. Option 2?
Just say no. Decline the offer. Maybe your timeline's too tight, or you think you can get a cleaner offer soon. You can just reject it.
Accept or decline. What's the middle ground? The third option.
That's the counteroffer. You could say, okay, maybe we can work with a contingency, but let's tweak things. Maybe you counter on how long Matt and Emily have to sell their house.
Right.
Or maybe you adjust the price slightly or other terms to kind of compensate for the extra risk you're taking on as the seller. It opens up negotiation.
Right. So it's not just yes or no. It can be a conversation.
Definitely.
Which leads straight into that big seller question the Karstedts tackle. Is this contingency good or bad for me, the seller? Let's break down their pros and cons list.
Yeah. They look at both sides. On the pro side for the seller, well, the most basic one is you have an offer. A signed offer.
Which is progress, right? Better than nothing.
Absolutely. Gets the ball rolling. And, if Matt and Emily's house sells super fast, then great. The contingency disappears, and it moves forward like a normal sale.
Minimal delay, potentially.
Yeah. And they also mention, because the buyer's asking for this favor, this contingency,
Yeah.
they might be more willing to give a little on other things. Maybe the closing date works better for you, or they're easier on inspection items, maybe even the price.
Ah, so the contingency itself could be a bargaining chip in other parts of the negotiation.
Could be. It gives you a little leverage, potentially.
Interesting angle. Okay, now the flip side. What are the big cons or risks for the seller, according to the post?
Well, the biggest one they point out is your house status changes. It's now under contract or pending inspection or whatever the local MLS term is.
Even with the contingency.
Even with the contingency.
Yeah.
And that signal can really put off other buyers.
How so?
They might see it's already got an offer, think it's too complicated, or just not want to get involved as a potential backup, so they just move on. You might lose out on someone else who is interested.
Okay, so you risk deterring other potential good offers while you wait.
Exactly. And then there's the obvious risk. What if Matt and Emily don't sell their Puyallup house in time?
The whole deal just collapses.
Yep, falls apart. You're back to square one. You've lost marketing time. Maybe you miss those other buyers who moved on. It could be a real setback.
Plus, your own plans are on hold, right? If you were planning your next move based on this sale.
Totally. Your timeline is suddenly tied to someone else's ability to sell their property. That loss of control is a big negative for most sellers.
Yeah, those cons feel pretty heavy. The risk of it falling through, losing other buyers, seems tough. But the Carsteds talk about a way to manage that risk, don't they? A specific tool.
They do, and this is really important. They talk about the 48-hour clause, sometimes called a kick-out clause. They position it as a key protection for sellers in this situation.
Okay, the 48-hour clause. Let's unpack that. How does it work exactly, based on their explanation?
So you, the seller, accept Matt and Emily's offer with the home sale contingency, but you include this 48-hour clause in the agreement.
Right.
Now, crucially, you don't just stop showing your house. You keep marketing it. You're still looking for offers.
Okay, so you're not totally sitting on your hands.
Not at all. And let's say another buyer comes along. A strong buyer, maybe with an all-cash offer or at least no home sale contingency. A really attractive offer.
Okay, you get that second offer. What happens then? You don't just dump the first one.
No, that's where the clause activates. You notify the first buyers, Matt and Emily, hey, we've received another acceptable offer. And now the clock starts ticking for them. They have a specific pre-agreed amount of time. The Carsteds say it's often 48 hours, but that number can be negotiated to make a huge decision.
48 hours to decide what?
They have to decide whether to remove their home sale contingency completely.
Whoa, so they'd have to commit to buying your house whether their Puyallup place has sold or not.
Exactly. They have to be ready, willing, and able to close the deal without relying on their home sale anymore. They basically have to waive that safety net.
That's a massive commitment for them, potentially needing bridge financing or something fast.
It is. It puts the pressure squarely back on them. If they can't or won't remove that contingency within the 48 hours,
Then what?
then their other option is to withdraw their offer. They walk away.
And they walk away, or the time just runs out.
Then you, the seller, are free. You can terminate that first contract with Matt and Emily and formally accept the shiny new offer from the second buyer.
Wow, okay. That really does change the dynamic for the seller. It stops you from being stuck indefinitely if a better offer comes along.
That's precisely the benefit the Carsteds highlight. It gives the seller an out. It prevents the sale from being completely stalled by the first buyer's situation if something better materializes. It adds flexibility back in.
Yeah, that mechanism seems to directly address some of those big cons we talked about. So circling back to the Carsteds' overall take, is a home sale contingency a deal breaker? Should sellers just run screaming?
Their answer is really clear on this. Not at all.
Okay, not a deal breaker.
They really emphasize that, yes, it adds complexity. It needs careful management. But it's not inherently bad.
Right.
For the buyer, like we said, it provides that essential breathing room, reduces the panic of having to sell their old place immediately.
Gives them time to manage their side.
Exactly. And for the seller, while there are risks, the Carsteds argue it's still a workable path, provided you protect yourself.
Using things like that 48-hour clause?
Precisely. It's about managing the risk, having the right clauses in place, not necessarily avoiding the contingency altogether.
So it's less about the contingency itself and more about the strategy around it.
That's exactly the vibe I got from their post. And they mentioned, they've personally guided lots of clients through these situations successfully, both buyers needing the contingency and sellers navigating how to handle one.
And what did they say were the keys to success?
Having the right strategy, knowing about things like the 48-hour clause, and critically clear communication between everyone involved. Buyer, seller, agents, everyone needs to be on the same page.
Strategy and communication sounds familiar in real estate.
Pretty much the foundation, yeah.
So bringing all this insight from the Karsted's post back to you listening right now.
Yeah.
Why is knowing all this so important, especially if you're in their focus area, like Lake Tapps or Pierce County?
Well, because like they said, these things do pop up. If you're buying or selling in Western Washington, particularly those areas they mentioned, there's a decent chance you'll encounter this. Either you'll get an offer with one, or you might need to make one yourself.
And understanding the nuts and bolts, what it means, the pros, the cons, how that 48-hour clause works, it just puts you in a much stronger position.
Absolutely. You can anticipate the issues, you can weigh offers better if you're selling, or you can craft your offer more strategically if you're buying, and need that contingency.
It stops it from being this scary, unknown contract term and makes it something you can actually, well, manage.
Yeah, you avoid surprises, you know the right questions to ask your agent. You're not just reacting, you understand the game plan.
It empowers you, really. Moves you from just signing papers to understanding the strategy.
Exactly. You can navigate it with your eyes open, whichever side of the table you're on.
Okay, so this deep dive into the Karsted's blog really shows that home sale contingencies, they're just part of the toolkit in markets like Lake Tapps. They've got upsides and downsides, for sure.
But there are ways to handle them, like that 48-hour clause, especially for sellers looking to manage the risk. It's not automatically a bad thing, just needs smart handling.
And that smart handling, according to Don and Susie Karsted, comes down to strategy and open communication.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on, drawing from everything we've unpacked here about navigating these contingencies. Given the complexities, the risks, and the need for that clear strategy and communication the Karsteds highlight, what's the single most critical conversation you think you'd need to have, maybe with your agent, maybe one you'd want your agent to have with the other side, if a home sale contingency suddenly becomes a part of your real estate deal?
Yeah. What's the one piece of clarity, the one assurance, or the one discussion point that would be absolutely essential for you personally to feel comfortable moving forward in that situation?
Something definitely worth thinking about if you're active in the Western Washington market. And with that, our deep dive into home sale contingencies, guided by the insights from Don and Susie Karsted at Rethinking Real Estate, is wrapped up.